Am I the a-hole for not letting my husband's parents live in the house I own? I, 31 female, married my husband, 35 male, when I graduated from college, and he was well within his career. We both have good degrees and live in a Southeast Asian country. I always wanted to pursue an academic career. I'd wanted to pursue my PhD from a good reputable European or American university. I never got to do that. My husband decided that he wanted an academic career too, and decided to pursue that. He already has his master's, so he went for a PhD in the USA, and he was living with a very low paycheck and well beyond his means. He had some savings from working in a corporate setting, so he was able to live off of that too. I did my master's in my home country while working a well-paying job and saved a lot. We do live in a traditional household, so I was living with his parents and have no expenses. This is how it is in my country. After wedding, you are expected to live with your husband at his parents or whatever your husband allows. After my master's, I got a very good opportunity for a PhD with a really good grant. I was still freelancing, so I had good money. I came back to the country and basically had no savings, and I at this time bought a house. He was aware of the purchase and I bought it to rent it out, with no intention of moving in, and started making good money on the rent. I always wanted to do something good for my parents because my father was very poor in the beginning, but he still provided me with excellent opportunities. So I purchased an apartment, nicer than what my parents live in, and told my parents to rent their current apartment to generate more monthly income for them. My husband was not aware of this setting. Well, the cat got out of the bag, and my husband's parents are furious with me because I have done nothing for them. I give his mother monthly allowance for fun money and pay for the maid that does the housework, and my husband basically has no savings and no assets. I told him it's not my fault. Then he demanded to evict my parents, but I told him to kick rocks. He then asked me to put his name on the house deed, and I wasn't thrilled to do that either. He told me that this means divorce, and I told him we don't live in the US. I will still own everything, and he will have to pay my father the dowry he owes. His parents asked to let them live in the house I own, and it is currently bigger than what we live in. I said no to that because that will mean cutting off a decent chunk of my monthly income. I do feel bad about his situation, but feel justified in my reasoning that if I put his name on anything I will have to share. I'm willing to share the monthly income, but he doesn't want that. I do carry his and my expenses, but that's about it. I'm willing to save and buy his parents something, but that will have to be in my name. So, am I the a-hole for not telling my husband about my gift to parents and not giving him any asset? Now for the top comments. Your husband is a deadbeat. Not the a-hole. My husband's parents are furious with me because I have done nothing for them. I give his mother monthly allowance for fun money and pay for the maid that does the housework. The apple doesn't fall far. Not the a-hole. Your husband cannot live past not being the breadwinner of the family. Please do not put anything in his name. He will transfer it or kick your parents out. You gave his parents money, so you are covered, as he did not have money when he was studying. Now that he has moved back, you still provided. He needs to earn his keep. I hope he sounds intelligent, so I'm assuming she won't transfer. But just in case 100% agree with this, do not transfer the deed or allow his name to be on it. Not the a-hole, I think. I live in the US, so I'm not aware of any culture difference. But from what you have said, I think he should be providing for them. Yes, that's exactly it. Like, I said yes to every tradition benefiting him and his parents, so he should be comfortable with something benefiting me. I don't want to live with his parents, but as he is an only son, and we are expected to look after in their old age. My father-in-law still earns, but when he retires, I'll have to bear the cost too. Not the a-hole. It's tradition that the husband provides, so as he should, save his money to provide for his wife and parents. Stand your ground, OP. Yes, like I only had to work because my husband couldn't afford my costs. It just so happens I was very lucky with the jobs and freelancing. They didn't even allow me to go to abroad to pursue my PhD. Get out. Better to support yourself and your parents. Your husband and in-laws are dead weight. Next story. Am I the a-hole for getting angry at my wife for getting my mom in a potentially dangerous situation? My mom, 57 female, recently came over to visit me, 29 male, and my wife, 29 female. We had dinner together, and my mom had like 10 drinks in just 2 hours. After dinner, my mom was going to drive home. but she was way too drunk to drive. I was gonna tell her to stay, but she had to go to work the next day. I wanted to drive her home. It's only a 30-minute drive, but my wife told me it was one of her friend's birthday tomorrow and she needed to get them a gift. There was a mall on the way between my mom's place and our home, so she decided she would drive my mom home and get a gift for her friend on the way. But halfway there, my wife realized it was 9:30 and the mall closed at 10. That meant she wouldn't be able to get in time if she dropped my mom home first. So she locked my mom in the car because she was too drunk, which I think escalated the situation, and went to buy the gift. But my mom got angry when she realized my wife had locked her in the car. It took my wife 30 minutes to get back. My mom began arguing with her for locking her in the car and making her wait, but my wife took it too far. She kicked my mom out of the car somewhere near the mall and drove back home. After my wife got home, she told me about this. I was angry at her for kicking my drunk mom in the middle of nowhere at night. I was more worried because our neighborhood isn't very safe at night, and there are lots of sketchy gangs of guys around. A lot of people. That's why I avoid going outside late at night, especially women. I called my mom a few times and she wasn't picking up, so I quickly grabbed my car keys and went to look for my mom. I looked everywhere near the mall for an hour and I was getting extremely worried. Just when I was going to call the cops about this, I found my mom passed out on the side of the road not too far from the mall. I was extremely relieved. God knows what would have happened to her if she was there for longer. I took her home and she woke up the next morning. After waking up, she was mad at my wife for abandoning her in the middle of nowhere. I agreed with my mom that something very dangerous could have happened to her. I told my wife she owed an apology to my mom, but she said my mom shouldn't have been so rude to her. I told her my mom was drunk. She didn't mean anything she said. But she didn't listen and we haven't talked in days. She's making me feel like an a-hole, but I feel like she shouldn't have abandoned my mom like that. Something very bad could have happened to her. So my question is, am I the a-hole for siding with my mom? I'd be filing for divorce. Not only is she drunk, but a woman she has left on the street, and your wife had no grounds to act this way at all. She's lucky that your mother is safe and that you found her. Lonely women are huge targets for a large number of disgusting events, and I'd probably file a police report while I was at it. Your wife could have waited a day to get her friend a gift instead of endangering another woman. No respect on her part at all. Not an a-hole. I kinda read more into the comment of, I think locking mom in the car escalated the situation. So, was mom punching and screaming to the point that the wife couldn't operate a car? Pretty hard for anyone to drive a car with a full-grown adult having a tantrum next to you while blank-out drunk. Mom gets drunk like this often. So maybe the wife is sick of the mom getting so drunk she has to be driven home. And this is the 97th time, and this time she was punching and screaming, so it was a danger to everyone. So at this point, wife should have called Opie to come. Wife could have stayed just enough away to be safe, but also to keep an eye on mom. She was able to drive away so she could have driven away and came back. Then she would stay in the car watching her while Opie took an Uber there. Also, if the mom did this all the time, why would a wife offer to drive her? If I know someone is a violent drunk or uncontrollable, I would never offer to drive them alone. I would have asked Opie to go with me, or ask Opie to let the mom wait with him at home and let me go to the mall first. So, if she doesn't get violent all the time and it was just this time, then she probably panicked because she was locked inside a car. We don't know if she has anxiety or if she thought the wife forgot her. Your mom should not have gotten tanked, but your wife should have just drove her home. You don't leave a drunk person wandering around the streets at night. Exactly. Why would your wife think it's a good idea to leave a drunk, upset at that point, person wandering around in a not-so-safe neighborhood? How did you think your mom was going to get home? Edit. For those who are wondering, my mom doesn't always drink like that. But sometimes she gets drunk like that. My wife is currently staying with my mother-in-law. As many of you suggest a divorce, I'm also thinking about it. She could have potentially gotten my mom killed and caused serious problems. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my wife to stop making my sister feel bad? I, 30 male, and my wife, 30 female, have been married for a year. My sister, 22 female, recently got kicked out by my mom, 58 female, for not getting a real job. It's my sister's dream to become a content creator. She has recently reached 3,000 followers on Instagram. She makes vlogs about her daily life and posts them on Instagram. It doesn't generate a lot of money, but I've been supportive towards her. After my mom kicked her out, I let her move in with us since she had nowhere else to go. And this is why my wife has been mad at me. She keeps telling me to tell my sister to get a real job. It doesn't help that my wife hates pets, and my sister owns 2 cats. She even tried to convince me to throw away her cats. My sister loves her cats more than anything. The cats also don't bother us anyway. My sister also helps us with the chores and other stuff around the house. It's not like I'm financially dependent on my wife either. I'm financially stable and make more than her and pays 2/3 of the rent. I'm the one paying for everything my sister needs. Our home is 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, so I don't understand what is the problem with my sister staying in one of the spare bedrooms. So yesterday, we were having dinner when my sister told me she just hit 3,000 followers. She seemed so happy. I congratulated her. She was then talking about how passionate she was to become an influencer. But then my wife interrupted her saying, "It's nice to have passions, but passions don't pay the bills, honey. And let's get real here. That silly little dream of yours will probably never work out." My sister was heartbroken, and she went to her room crying. I went after her and told her my wife didn't mean anything she said. She was just stressed out. I told her I have faith in her that she will achieve her dreams one day. After she was alright, I went to my wife and told her that was extremely mean, and she owes my sister an apology. But she called me a fool for supporting that silly little dream of her that will never work out. Now she's giving me the silent treatment and making me feel like an a-hole. So my question is, am I the a-hole for this? Thanks. Now for the comments. You're the a-hole. You did this without talking to your wife and getting an agreement. It seems you don't care about your wife's feelings at all. It doesn't help that my wife hates pets and my sister owns 2 cats. Yep, you made all of these decisions without your wife. Plus, his wife and mom are right. The sister has 0 chance of success. The camping-focused Insta I haven't touched since 2016 has 2.9 followers last I remember. If the sister is actually attempting to be a content creator and it's taken her this long to hit a pretty and remarkable number, and she's ecstatic about it as if it's an actual career goal, she's beyond hopeless. Subsidizing her unrealistic dream is letting her become lazy and entitled, and ensuring she'll never actually gain the skills and knowledge to be able to support herself. So not only did he cut his wife out of the decision-making process, he made some piss-poor decisions as well. Edited to add, took a look at a camping account I mentioned. It has 4.3 followers now, without any posts since 2016. I'm sure they're mostly all bots. But like if the sister is working full-time and trying to make this a career and has only achieved 3,000, she's absolutely delusional to think she has a snowball's chance in hell of making a career out of this. Adobe's doing her a huge disservice by telling her she can't follow her dream. She's going to still be there in 10 years at this rate, celebrating hitting the 7.5 mark, and acting like success is just around the corner. Yeah, 3,000 followers is less than nothing when it comes to being a content creator. Wife may have worded things a little harshly, but she's absolutely right. You can work while pursuing your passions. If I were the wife and I had not only been cut out of the decision to have her there, but my husband was also congratulating her on such a meaningless milestone, it probably would have been even harsher, to be honest. Everyone sucks here. Your wife's right. Who's gonna pay her way while she works on her dreams? You? Sounds like you'll be divorced if that's the case, and I won't blame your wife. His wife is totally right in the grand scheme of things, but I don't think his sister celebrating a milestone was the right moment. Even waiting the next day would have been better, but definitely everyone sucks here. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that his sister has to pay her own bills? My husband's sister Lee, 26, acts like a spoiled teenager. She still lives with her parents and works part-time. 2 years ago, she decided she wanted a better car. She already had a 2016 BMW. My husband took over her car payment so she could get a new car. His car was paid off, so this was the bill we took on, an extra $500 a month. I found out that he had just paid off her parking ticket of $370 because she didn't have the money and my in-laws were broke after Christmas. I told Lee she has to pay her bills from now on, or have her boyfriend pay them, that my husband is not responsible for her. She gets offended and gives me a sob story of why she has no money. One was that she just got back from a girl's trip to Lake Tahoe. I told her you will be the reason we get divorced. I said the same thing to my husband. That next time you pay any of her bills, I'm out. His family's giving me the cold shoulder. But 26? She can grow the heck up. You're not stay home. 26 is way too old to be financially dependent on your husband. I'm guessing you and your husband have joint funds. He has no right to make financial decisions without consulting you first, and vice versa. Your sister-in-law needs to grow up. Your husband needs to realize this and has to stop enabling her. It doesn't matter whether you two are financially stable or well off. He is enabling her at your expense. Put your foot down, Opie, and don't you dare lift it. Bury your foot in the ground if that's what it takes. Do not budge or let him gaslight you. Edit. I read through this again and had a thought. Is there any chance your sister-in-law may be manipulating him? It's very likely that she's taking advantage of his kindness. If that's the case, you need to make sure he puts his foot down too. Not stay home. But also, I would separate your money from your husband's, if you can. I know in a divorce it will all be divided up, but I wonder if he'd be less giving with the money if it was all his. Not stay home. Your husband needs to stop bailing his sister out. It is causing a rift in your relationship. He is enabling her and not putting his foot down. So she was paying off a BMW and then gets a new car, which costs money, while also taking lavish trips? I think not. She is playing her family for fools.